How's it going, everybody? Lampini here again. And today we are going to be reviewing the final week of the 2025 NFL season, week 18. Yes, indeed, folks, we finally made it. After 18 weeks of football, the 2025 regular season is coming to an end. I hope I'm as heartbroken as you guys are, but we have some great games this week and full steam ahead into the playoffs to crown a champion of the 2025 season. So without further ado, let's take a look at how I did for week 17. Boom. So I was 11-5 with my predictions. I did pretty darn well. Some of the big surprises were that the Vikings beat the Lions. That was a huge win by the Vikings, or more so maybe a catastrophic loss by the Lions, especially considering the Ravens beat the Packers. Another one I got wrong there. The Browns upset the Steelers, which is going to make the Ravens-Steelers game a lot more exciting for week 18. The Eagles beat the Bills. Bit of a toss-up game there. The Bills had a chance at the very end there, but they weren't able to pull the trigger. And then the Falcons upset the Rams. I'll have a lot to say about that game because I did watch that live on Monday night. For the season, I am 168, 88, and 1. So we're getting very close to doubling the amount of wins that I have losses. We're pretty close there. Hopefully the last week can turn it over. I still have a pretty good record there for the predictions, though. So without further ado, let's kick things off with the first game of the week. So the first game that we have is on Saturday. We have the Carolina Panthers at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is what is going to decide the NFC South, the pitiful NFC South. The Panthers are 8-8 and the Buccaneers are 7-9. Now, both of these teams are coming off of losses. The Panthers lost to the Seahawks 27-10. Seahawks, though, looking like the overall best team in the league right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't really be too hard on them for that. And then the Buccaneers lost to the Dolphins 20-17. Ironically, the Dolphins and the Buccaneers both have the same record. The Buccaneers have really been in a horrible downward spiral so far in the second stretch of the season. They've lost 4 straight. They've lost 7 of their last 8. And their collapse has mirrored the Colts. It hasn't been as pronounced as the Colts because the Colts were the number 1 seed, but they're having their own, horrible collapse this season, and they desperately need a new head coach and a regime change because whatever they're doing, it is not working anymore. The Panthers aren't necessarily a great team either, but it looks like they are probably going to win this division. Bryce Young with a pretty poor game. He was 14-24 for 54 yards and an interception of 45.8 passer rating. I think that we've seen the absolute best that Bryce Young has to offer this season. I think, good on the Panthers for doing well this season, and I think they are going to win this game. Spoiler. And I do think they're going to make the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were a first-round exit. I think we've really seen the most of what Bryce Young can do. He has physical limitations, kind of like Tua. He can run. He's okay, but he's not a first overall pick. He's undersized, and I think that the Panthers' scheme has maximized what they can do with him. And I believe he only has an 85 passer rating, which is a below average passer rating. So Bryce Young is kind of what I expected. He's a below average starter. I think that he has good instincts, kind of like Tua does. He knows how to play the position, but he's just undersized, and that will ultimately be his downfall. So I do think that the Panthers are going to win, just because Tampa Bay has been struggling so much. So with that being said, I am going to go with the Panthers. I think they're going to win. So the next Saturday game, this is Saturday night, we have the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. This is going to decide the division, the NFC West. Now, the 49ers have quietly, they were struggling with injuries with Brock Purdy early on. Mac Jones came in, won them a lot of games. The 49ers are operating on all cylinders right now. And I think that, I said this last week, they are one of the more underrated teams in the NFL right now. The 49ers have been a successful team for the better part of this whole decade, since 2019, since Kyle Shanahan took over. They have made it to the Super Bowl twice. They've made it to the conference championship, 4 times. Very, very impressive work there. They just haven't gotten over the hump, and they've never really looked like they were going to win the Super Bowl. And for that reason, I think that they've been not looked at as serious contenders. But they are playing very, very good football right now. They beat the Bears 42-38 Sunday night in an absolute shootout. Brock Purdy was 24-33 for 303 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 118.6 passer rating. So a great game there by Brock Purdy. Christian McCaffrey, 23 carries for 140 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Brock Purdy also rushed for 2 touchdowns, giving him a total of 5 touchdowns on the day. Huge game there by the 49ers. The Seahawks, though, are the best team in the NFC right now. It might be the best team in the NFL right now, which is very interesting because they don't have, a Hall of Fame quarterback or a top 5 quarterback, really. But Sam Darnold is playing some solid football. Despite him not really having a great game against the Panthers, he was 18 of 27 for 147 yards, a touchdown, and an interception for a 77.2 passer rating. So he didn't really do that great, but Zach Charbonnet had 2 rushing touchdowns. That really helped them in the stats total there. This is going to be a very interesting game, though, because the 49ers are looking really, really strong. So are the Seahawks. So this is going to be a very important game to watch. I'm going to go with the 49ers, though. I think that the 49ers are getting hot at the right time. And I think that if they win this game, people are really going to start taking them seriously, and they're going to have a lot of positive momentum going into the playoffs. But like I had said previously last week, I think an NFC West team is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. It's going to be either the Seahawks, 49ers, or Rams. And that's kind of how I see it going on at this stage. So I'm going to go with the 49ers to upset the Falcons at home Saturday night. And now we come to the Sunday 1 p.m. slate. We have the New Orleans Saints at the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons had a very impressive victory yesterday against the Rams. Kirk Cousins was firing on all cylinders. He has done very, very well, to kind of show everyone that he's still a capable starter. Depending on where Michael Penix is in his rehab, they might actually stick with Kirk Cousins. I don't really know, but at 37 years old, he's showing us that he can still play very solid football, and it may either get him a job on another team, or it might even win him the starting job with the Falcons. Who knows? But he's putting on a good show. As for the Saints have surprisingly won 4 straight in a row. Is that the Saints kind of getting things going late in the season, kind of figuring out their identity, or is it that they're just getting hot and playing some bad teams? I don't really know. All I know is Tyler Shuck looks really, really good. He was 22 of 27 for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 142.7 passer rating. Bear in mind that is against the Tennessee Titans, though. But, it's better than having a bad game. I would say that he looks like the future there, and he's definitely earned the starting job. I'm going to go with the Falcons, though. I do think the Falcons are going to win this game. They have a more talented roster. Bijan Robinson had over-the-moon performance against the Rams. He had 190 yards rushing. An absolutely incredible showing by him. I am going to go with the Falcons. They have more talent on the team, and I think that the Saints are going to finish up 6-11, and the Falcons are going to finish 8-9. And if you've seen what the Falcons have looked like the last couple of years, it's been 7 wins, 7 wins, 7 wins, 8 wins, 4 wins, 7. They have been the most mid team in the whole wide world, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon because Bijan is there, Drake London is there, Kyle Pitts is there. They have all these very talented skill position players, but they can't put it together. So 2026 is going to be an interesting year for them to see who they end up starting with in their QB purgatory that they're in. But I do think they're going to beat the Saints, and they're going to finish with an 8-9 record. Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams are coming off of wins, and they both looked pretty good. I would say that the Browns did very well. Their defense did very well stopping the Steelers. They had some good turnovers. Shedeur Sanders didn't have a great game, 17 of 23 for 186 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a 75.6 passer rating. That was, kind of a poor showing there by Shedeur. He had a really bad interception where he just kind of lofted the ball up, and the Steelers cornerback kind of acted as a wide receiver and just picked off the pass. But other than that, their defense looked great. Myles Garrett is still looking for sack number 23. It's going to take until week 17 to do it, so there's always going to be that asterisk. If he does have the sack record, will he have one extra game to do it? I'm like, yeah, probably. It doesn't really matter. He's still going to win Defensive Player of the Year for the second time in 3 years, so it doesn't really matter to him. As for the Bengals, they won. They beat the Cardinals 37-14. They are now 6-10, and like I said, you see the difference when Joe Burrow is in there, and he really makes a difference. He was 24 of 31 for 305 yards, 2 touchdowns, 129.1 passer rating. Great performance there. Chase Brown's 22 carries for 101 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, and then Jamar Chase 7 receptions for 60 yards and 2 receiving touchdowns there. The offense is working like how we know they can, but they're going to finish probably. The Bengals are going to win this game. They're going to finish 7-10, despite having their quarterback out for a majority of the season. But I think Joe Flacco is a very lateral move. Like Joe Flacco is not that much further down than Joe Burrow. What he loses in athleticism, he makes up for with age, experience, and savvy. So I mean, they didn't have that much of a drop in quarterback play, I don't really think. So yeah, they're going to finish with 7 wins, and you know, once again, the underperforming Bengals continue to rear their ugly head. Will 2026 be the year that they finally go back to what they were in 21 and 22? You're now 3 complete seasons removed from their back-to-back AFC Championship run, so it'll be interesting to see if they can continue that. As for the Browns, I mean, like I said, nothing much to say about the Browns. I think the Bengals are going to win. I'm going with the Bengals. So next up, we have the Green Bay Packers at the Minnesota Vikings. This game would have had a lot of significance if the Lions had beaten the Vikings last week, but they didn't. They got upset and beat up pretty badly. So did the Packers, though. Malik Willis has been playing really, really well, and he might earn a starting job. A lot of people are joking around saying that that Malik Willis has earned a spot on the Jets to start for the Jets, which is not going to go well for him. But he's been playing very, very well. He was 18 of 21 for 288 yards, a touchdown, and 134.6 passer rating. He also rushed for 2 scores as well. I don't think it really matters how well Malik Willis plays for the Packers because the Packers are a very well-run team that develop quarterbacks very well. So I think that any quarterback you put in there is going to look great. So I mean, if he goes to the Jets, he's going to flounder and not play well. I mean, it's just how it is with these things. You have certain teams that are good at developing young quarterbacks, and the Packers are one of them. They've done it for the past 30 years with Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. They've let them sit and they've let them develop, and they build good quarterbacks. I apologize for yawning every 15 seconds. I don't know what's going on with me, but again, it was a bad showing by the Packers. But Clayton Tune had to come in a couple times because Malik Willis was in and out of the lineup with some injuries. And the Vikings are 8-8 somehow, despite having the amount of quarterback problems that they had. So that is a whole other thing altogether. But I do think the Packers are going to win. They have no threat of the Lions surpassing them now. So I do think they're going to win. If the Packers end up losing out and finish 9-7-1, then they will have stumbled into the playoffs here. I'm going with the Packers though. Next up, we have a meaningless NFC East showdown. The Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. For what it's worth, the Giants destroyed the Raiders 34-10. And I want you all to say it. I want to say this to everyone. I predicted that was going to happen. The Raiders are so bad, they made the Giants look good, and they get 34-10 against the Giants of all teams, which I think is that's just a testament to how bad the Raiders actually are. The Cowboys played a very entertaining game against the Washington Commanders, 30-23. Dak Prescott, 19 of 37 for 307 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 97.5 passer rating. The Cowboys' offense was operating on all cylinders. They have so much talent on offense. They're a great team. Yada, 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 yada. You've heard all of this before, yet they still can't pull the trigger, and they still can't win. It's funny. They're going to finish 8-1 probably. Mid as all hell. And that's not really the best thing for Brian Schottenheimer, first-year head coach. They have a lot of talent on their team like they always do, but they're the Cowboys. They can never get it done. So it's very nice that you have that kind of a team in your division. Same goes for the Giants, actually. But I'm going with the Cowboys. They're going to win this meaningless game. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pretty predictable matchup here. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. They are 12-4 right now, and they look like one of the best teams in the AFC. When it comes to the AFC, I'll talk about it a little bit when I get to the playoff predictions, but as far as I'm concerned, the AFC is wide open. There's no clear favorite for the AFC because you have the Broncos, you have the Patriots, you have the Texans, you have the Chargers, and you have the Jaguars. The Bills are the only outlier. They've been there before, but all those teams are very inexperienced in the playoffs. The Broncos and Texans were there last year, but they didn't make it super far, right? So the Jaguars look like an incredible team, though. Trevor Lawrence had 2 rushing touchdowns. He did throw an interception, though. But they are firing on all cylinders, and they look like a phenomenal team. For what it's worth, Cam Ward was 21 of 40 for 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an 88.6 passer rating. He's doing okay. I'll say. We're starting to see kind of like with Tyler Shuck and the Titans and the Saints, who ironically played them this week. We're starting to see some progress with the Titans rebuild. Cam Ward is starting to get some confidence under his belt, and things are going a little bit better now. He's kind of coming out of the tough spot. The Jaguars are going to win this game though, and I don't have a doubt in my mind that that's not going to happen. all full tilt to the playoffs for the Jaguars. The question for them is how far can they go? I'm going with the Jaguars. So for this next game, we have the Indianapolis Colts at the Houston Texans. Again, I'm going to be quick with this one. I am going to go with the Texans. They're going to win. The poor Colts, losing Daniel Jones, losing 6 straight, 7 of their last 8. This is one of the biggest single season collapses I think I've in recent NFL history. And what's sad is they had a great story going for them with Jonathan Taylor having a offensive player of the year caliber season. He's kind of stalled a little bit, and Phillip Rivers coming back out of retirement at age 44 and doing some unprecedented stuff. He's lost 3 games, but I mean, the fact that he's been able to even play coming off the couch after 5 years off at the age of 44 is very, very impressive. And I would have loved to have seen Phillip Rivers continue to play if this is what he was capable of doing this whole time. So it's a great story, but it's unfortunately coming to an end. The Texans, like I said, are a lot like the Jaguars, the Patriots, the Broncos, teams that don't have a lot of playoff experience, but it feels like they are kind of the new perennial playoff team. I think the Texans are a real big dark horse. They beat the Chargers 20-16. That's another playoff team. So they have the best defense in the league, and their offense is getting a lot of traction. So I would not be surprised if they surprise some people. I'm going with the Texans. So now we're at the 4:00 games, and I'm going to get this one right out of the way. We have the Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are 11-5, and the Commanders are 4-12. So we went from a 4-win season to a 12-win season to another 4-win season, it looks like. Pretty crazy how that works, but it was not our year to say the least. We saw some positive stuff against the Cowboys. Ja'Cory Krosky merited 11 carries for 105 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. As a rookie running back, that's pretty impressive to see. So we got to keep him on the – well, we're obviously going to keep him on the roster, but some positivity is going to be good. Next season is going to hinge on if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy. I sure hope he can. Hopefully Terry can stay healthy. Hopefully we're not ravaged by injuries like we were, around the beginning, midway point of the season where some of these guys just didn't come back. It's very unfortunate, but I mean, it is what it is. The Eagles are going to win. It was a very impressive game against the Bills. The Bills scored, did everything that they needed to do, and then they went for 2 points to win the game, and they weren't able to convert the 2-point conversion. The Eagles hung on, and they managed to win the game. I'm still not very impressed with the Eagles, but I do think that they have the potential to make a playoff game, maybe win a playoff game, maybe make it to the conference championship. But like I said, the Super Bowl, the NFC is going to be represented by the NFC West this season, and I don't see that with any doubt in my mind. I think the Rams can beat them, the Eagles, I think the Seahawks can beat them, and I think the 49ers can beat the Eagles. So that's just kind of what I see happening. I am going to go with the Eagles in this game, though. I think they're going to win. So now we come to the New York Jets at Buffalo Bills. Again, I'm going to be quick with this one. The Bills are going to win this game. The Jets got absolutely throttled 42-10. Not much to really say. As for the Bills were up against it pretty much the entire game. Their defense kept them in it. The Eagles' offense was not able to get anything done in the second half. The Bills eventually fought their way back. Josh Allen put the team on his back like he always does. They managed to score a touchdown, and then when it came to the 2-point conversion to actually win the game, instead of tying it to go to overtime, I guess the team was tired and they wanted to go for the win. He wasn't able to convert it. It was a incomplete pass. He just led him a little too far, and the pass was inaccurate, too far out for the receiver to get it. So it was a makeable play, but Josh Allen just ran out of miracles. But the Bills are going to take their anger out on the Jets. They are going to finish 12-5, which, for the Bills is pretty par for the course. And like I said, if the Bills don't at least make the Super Bowl, maybe the conference championship, this season is going to be a massive disappointment for them because they're the most experienced playoff team right now. They don't have to go through Kansas City. They probably won't have to go through Baltimore, but they've beaten Baltimore in the playoffs. So they won't have to go through the Chiefs, who have beaten them 4 out of 5 years. So if they don't at least make the Super Bowl, then I'm going to be very disappointed in them. But they are going to beat the Jets. What can we say? Next up, we have the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears. The Bears played very, very well in a losing effort against the 49ers, 38-42. It was a shootout. It was a thriller. Great game. I think that the Bears have really showed a lot to me these last couple weeks that they are for real. So I think they can cause a lot of damage in the playoffs. And I think they're a very strong team. I just don't see any team beating the West. I just think that the NFC West, the 3 teams that are representing in the playoffs, are just better than the other 17, or the other 4 teams. So that's just kind of how I see that. And as for the Lions, my goodness, what a collapse by the Lions. Jared Goff had 5 turnovers. There were 6 total by the team, 6 total turnovers. They lost to the Vikings 23-10. Jared Goff, 18 of 29, 197 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions, and a 64.9 passer rating. To put it simply, they choked. Considering that the Packers even lost and the fact that the Packers look very weak, this could have been the Lions' chance to get back into the playoffs, win this game. Winning against the Bears would have been hard, don't get me wrong, but they would have at least had something to play for in this game, and they have 0 to play for. So it's a very disappointing season, to say the least, for the Lions. I understand they have 2 new coordinators on offense and defense, but their offense has been very, very good. They have like a top 3 offense, I think. Their defense has really been what's killed them this season, is that they haven't been able to stop a darn thing this entire year. And it doesn't help when you turn the ball over 6 times. It was very reminiscent of their loss against us in the divisional round when they turned the ball over a bunch. We took advantage and we managed to win the game that way. So just very, very unfortunate stuff here for the Lions. I do think the Bears are going to win. They're going to finish the season 13-4, which is a lot better than I thought of them. This is probably the best Bears season since 2018 in the double doink season. It seems like this is what happens with the Bears, where they're bad for a long time, and then they have that one big season where they make a push and try and win. It's like the 2006 Bears when they made the Super Bowl, 2010 Bears when they made the conference championship, and then the 2018 Bears. Once in a blue moon, they will put it all together and have a chance at the Super Bowl. I just don't think they're going to make it. I think it's going to be an early round playoff exit like it's always been for them. But they look really, really good, and that's all I can really say for them. I'm going with the Bears. Now, this game is going to be very, very interesting. The Los Angeles Chargers at the Denver Broncos. Broncos are 13-3. The Chargers are 11-5. Again, both teams have been very, very strong. The Broncos beat the Chiefs 20-13, which I think they frankly should have done a little bit better. Ironically, both of these quarterbacks had very, very similar games. With Bo Nix, he was 26 of 38 for 182 yards, a touchdown and interception, and a 76.9 passer rating. Right? Justin Herbert, 21 of 32 for 236 yards, a touchdown and interception, and 84.9 passer rating. So both quarterbacks had a touchdown and a pick. They completed kind of the same amount, similarly. Justin Herbert with a lower completion percentage, but more yards on top of that and a higher passer rating. This is going to be a very interesting showdown, just because I could see these teams facing each other in the playoffs. If I look at the AFC playoff picture real quick here, it does not have them playing each other just because the Broncos are the number 1 seed. It has the Chargers going against the number 4 seed because they're the number 5 seed. I actually haven't refreshed this yet, so actually let me see if that actually changes. Yeah, so actually it does change. The Chargers are the number 6 seed, and they're facing the Jaguars at number 3. So that'll be a very interesting showdown there. 2 very new blood playoff teams here. It's going to be an interesting game for sure, and I've been saying that with a lot of these games, but these 2 could face each other in the playoffs very easily. I am going to go with the Broncos, though. I think the Broncos have a better defense. The way I kind of see this is they're very similar teams. The Chargers have a slightly better offense than they do defense, and the Broncos have a great defense, a lot better than a kind of a middling offense. They're very different teams in that regard. But I am going to go with the Broncos. They have one of the best defenses in the league, and I think they're going to win. So this next game is a bit pointless. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Las Vegas Raiders. The Chiefs lost again to go to 6-10 on the year. And, it's over. It's over for the Chiefs this year. Everyone knows it. The Chiefs know it. They need to come back stronger in 2026 and see if they can reload, recharge, and continue the dynasty, or if the Chiefs dynasty is already over. I think it's kind of weird because I think we've been spoiled with the Patriots 20-year dynasty, that not all dynasties are like that. I mean, you look at the Steelers dynasty in the 70s from 71 to 79, that whole decade, they were dominant, and then the 80s, they kind of trickled off. The 49ers dynasty in the 80s was really powerful. They were really good in the 90s as well, but I always hear this stuff saying that the 49ers dynasty didn't continue into the 90s. The Cowboys had a dynasty. Like, I said the word dynasty too much in the last, 30 seconds. But I think the Chiefs are still going to win because the Raiders are that bad, and they're going to have the number 1 overall pick. I think that, I said this before, but this is one of the worst seasons that the Raiders have had in the last 25 years. And considering the kind of seasons that they've had, that's really saying something. But yeah, no hope for the Raiders to really do anything. The Chiefs are going to win, and they're going to finish 7-10. It's going to be a down year for them. All eyes are going to point to see if they can recover, and return to prominence in 2026. Mahomes recovering from his ACL tear and all that great stuff. We'll wait and see, but this game is going to be kind of pointless. Only the hardcore Chiefs and Raiders fans are going to watch this one. I'm going with the Chiefs. So next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams. Not much to say about the Cardinals. They're irrelevant, but the Rams got upset by the Falcons Monday night in Atlanta. It was a very, very close game. The Rams battled back and had a very strong chance to win the game. Matt Stafford almost played himself out of the MVP race. He had 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. 1 interception was a pick 6. He was just off his game altogether. It was just a poor game. This game against the Cardinals is going to be a good chance for him to maybe pad his stats some and make it a stronger MVP showcase for him. Stafford right now has 42 touchdowns to 8 interceptions, which I think are still MVP caliber numbers. Drake May is playing really efficient football, but he's got 30 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. I don't know how you can give someone the MVP when they've thrown for 12 less touchdowns, but hopefully this is a good get-right game for the Rams so they can go into the playoffs strong. I think that is what's going to happen. I think the Rams are going to win pretty easily, but I mean, that game against the Falcons, they were just off their game. The interceptions didn't help, and they had a chance to come back. The Falcons were up 24-10, and they had a chance to kick a field goal to go up 27-10, but Jared Verse blocked and returned the field goal for a touchdown, which brought it to 17-24. Then they managed to tie the game. Then the Falcons kicked a field goal, and the Rams were trying to go down the field to try and get into field goal range. They came this close, weren't able to do it, and they ended up losing. Just kind of an off game on their part, and I think they are going to come back and beat the Cardinals relatively easily and jump back into the playoffs as a strong playoff team. So I'm going with the Rams. So next up, we have the Miami Dolphins at New England Patriots. I mean, all I have to say about this is Drake May, 19 of 21, had 2 incompletions, 256 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, and a 157 perfect passer rating. Pretty much opposite games from the 2 MVP frontrunners in Matt Stafford and Drake May. Drake May pretty much strengthened his MVP campaign, whereas Matt Stafford was hurt a little bit. I don't know. It's going to depend on how both of these quarterbacks finish. But the Patriots look really, really strong, and they did beat kind of a bad Jets team, and they're probably going to beat a bad Dolphins team for what it's worth. They are going to win the game, and they're going to improve to 14-3. But, as we go into the playoff picture, they may be one and done. Who knows? And I'll talk about that in a little bit. And it's mainly just because of who they're playing. But I am going with the Patriots. They're going to win pretty easily. So this next game is the Sunday night game. And what a game is it's going to be. It is going to determine the AFC North. We have the Baltimore Ravens squaring off against their heated rival Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, this is what football is all about. Winning, you're in. Losing, you go home. These two teams had very, very different games. The Ravens beat the Packers 41-24. And what I think has been interesting is both of these teams have been so hot and cold, up and down, that I have no idea who is going to show up to this game. Tyler Huntley played in relief of an injured Lamar Jackson. And honestly, he played very well. He was 16 of 20 for 107 yards, a touchdown, and a 105.6 passer rating. I think that Tyler Huntley is the best backup in relation to the team that he is playing on. He knows the playbook the best. It maximizes his skill set. He has chemistry with the team. And I think that going from Lamar to Tyler Huntley is a very lateral move. And it's very interesting how they can dominate like they did against a team like the Packers. But they didn't dominate because of Tyler Huntley. Oh, no. They dominated because of Derrick Henry. 36 carries, a career high, 216 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. This was the Derrick Henry game, and that's all there was to it. He had a career game, 216 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns is all you need to hear. 31 years old, only a couple weeks away from his 32-year-old from turning 32. Running backs usually slow down once they turn 30, but not Derrick Henry. He is a freak of nature. He is a physical specimen, massive dude, fast dude. He's making a case. He's making a case for being a top 10 all-time running back. And with some of the running backs that have played in the NFL throughout history, in the era that Derrick Henry is in such a pass-happy league, that just makes it even more impressive. He has 16 rushing touchdowns, which is the third or fourth time he's done that in his career. He's at 1,400 rushing yards, I believe, 13 or 1,400 rushing yards. I mean, it's just another all-time great season from Derrick Henry. He barely skipped out on the Pro Bowl because there's a lot of other running backs that have more receiving yards, that have more yards from scrimmage, that have had a slightly better year. But, I mean, maybe Derrick Henry get a Pro Bowl, just an honorary Pro Bowl, or like as a substitute. I don't really know. But, I mean, he has just played his butt off these last couple weeks, and he has showed everyone how valuable he is and how you can base the offense around him. It really is incredible. Not a single fumble. I mean, I could gush about it all day and night because he's my favorite player in the NFL. But if Lamar Jackson comes back, how does their game plan change? Because it's clear that if you have a game plan where you give Derrick Henry the rock, he can dominate, you know? So I think that's the only thing that's really going to get in the Ravens' way if Lamar Jackson does play, that they try and use Lamar more than they use Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry doesn't get as many carries as he would need to. But, I mean, both teams, the Ravens and the Steelers, have been hot and they've been cold. So it's going to be a matter of who shows up hot and who shows up cold. The Steelers were very, very flat against the Browns. They only scored 6 points. Aaron Rodgers didn't play well. The whole team didn't play well if you're giving up 13 points and 2 interceptions to Shedeur Sanders and you still don't win the game. It's in Pittsburgh. It's going to be one monster game. I am going to go with the Ravens on this one. I think that they're going to win. I think they are going to backdoor themselves into the playoffs just barely after a very turbulent season where they lost 5, they won 5, they looked good, then they started losing games, then it looked pretty hopeless. It's been a roller coaster season for the Ravens that most Ravens fans are not accustomed to. They're accustomed to basically what the Bills are doing, where they just win and they win, maybe occasional loss, win to finish with 12 wins, and then you're in the playoffs. But if the Ravens manage to make it in the playoffs, I think the Ravens are a lot more dangerous in the playoffs than the Steelers are. So I'm going with the Ravens. I think that last week injected a lot of life into them. And if Lamar doesn't play, that honestly might make things even better because you can just run behind Derrick Henry. And, you know, who knows what can happen. But I'm going with the Ravens. All right, guys, with that being said, we just reviewed the last games of the regular season. And now it is time for us to look at the playoff picture. Starting off with the AFC. We have not much change happening here. Seedings have kind of jumped around a little bit. You can see that the AFC is a lot stronger record-wise. I think the Panthers and the Packers kind of knocked down the NFC a little bit, but the Broncos are the number 1 seed still at 13-3. The Patriots are 13-3 at the number 2 seed. Jaguars are 12-4. Steelers are 9-7. The only team that can really jump in at this stage, the only team that is not eliminated, is the Baltimore Ravens, and they square off against the Steelers, and the winner moves on to the number 4 seed to face either the Texans, Chargers, or Bills. The Texans, Chargers, and Bills are all 11-5. So depending on what happens, the seeding could jump around like crazy there. Now, as it stands right now, the Bills are facing the Patriots. This is why I'm saying that the Patriots could be one and done, because one of the Patriots' 3 losses is because of the Buffalo Bills. So if the Bills end up facing the Patriots, that may be an unlucky matchup for the Patriots, and they may lose. But then again, the Bills may lose. Who knows? The Jaguars are playing the Chargers. They played each other not too long ago, and I believe the Jaguars crushed them. The Texans are facing the Steelers. The Texans have beaten the Chargers. The Jaguars are beating the Chargers. I think out of all the teams right now, I think the Chargers are the weakest link. I think that they're a very good team, but I think when it comes to playing teams on their level or better than them, they can't rise to the occasion. So I think the Jaguars beat the Chargers pretty convincingly. I think the Texans beat the Steelers pretty convincingly. And then as for that, I mean, the AFC, like I said, is wide open. You have the Texans, Jaguars, Patriots, and Broncos. They're all new money AFC playoff teams. It's wide open. I think that the Bills are the only real experienced team unless the Ravens get in. And I think if you see the Texans against the Ravens or even the Chargers against the Ravens, I see the Ravens capable of winning both of those games. So it remains to be seen, but it's going to be one heck of an AFC bracket. Now we come to the NFC. Bam. The Seahawks are the number 1 seed at 13-3. That's not going to change. They've clinched the they've only clinched the number 1 seed if they beat the 49ers, so that's going to be one heck of a game. The Bears are the number 2 seed at 11-5. The Eagles are the number 3 seed at 11-5, and the Panthers are 8-8. They're going to beat the Buccaneers and move to 9-8. So I see no reason why that's not going to happen. Then as we come in here, the Rams are 11-5, the 49ers are 12-4, and the Packers are 9-6-1. So there's going to be there's no in the hunt teams anymore. Everyone is eliminated. It's all about seeding now. If the Bears lose and the Rams win, I think the Rams, the Bears have locked up the division. It all comes down to seeding. So if the Rams win, the 49ers lose, I believe that moves the Rams up to 5. And then I think that's really the only change that can really happen. So it's either going to be the Rams face the Eagles or the Rams face the Panthers. I think the Rams very much want to face the Panthers over the Eagles, even though those are 2 teams that the Rams have lost to this year. So that'd be interesting to see what happens with that. And right now we have the Bears going against the Packers. Those teams are 1-1 against each other. So the rubber match will be very interesting. And then the 49ers are going to crush the Panthers if they go against it. I don't really give the Panthers much of a chance. That concludes it, guys. The regular season is going to be over next week as we enter the playoffs. It is sudden death elimination. Winner moves on, loser goes home. And I don't know, guys. This is a very strange season because I can't pick a definitive favorite. The Broncos have not looked great. They've won games, but they haven't looked great. We almost beat them, right? The Commanders almost beat them. The Seahawks have looked really good. There have not been a lot of bad losses by the Seahawks, so I would say they're maybe the favorite. But when you have a team like the Seahawks that does not have a lot of playoff experience, I could see a team like the 49ers or even the Rams beating them just because they have more playoff experience. And usually coaching is what gets you done in the playoffs, and that's why I think a team like the Rams with Sean McVay or the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan is so dangerous. As for the AFC, there's a lot of new coaches. Sean Payton is experienced, but Mike Vrabel has been in the playoffs before, but the first time with the Patriots. And then you have Liam Cohen with the Jaguars, which is going to be very interesting. I don't know. My early pick for the Super Bowl right now, I'm going to go with Bills and 49ers. That's my early prediction for the Super Bowl right now, and I think that's not really much to be surprised because both of those teams have been perennial playoff teams and perennial conference championship goers. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. But that is my early pick for the Super Bowl. And I don't know, it might be the 49ers year, honestly, because they look really, really strong, and they have just barely been etched out by slightly better teams every single year. This might be their time. But anyway, that concludes Week 18, and I'll see you guys next week for Wild Card Weekend. Take it easy, y'all.